So I am here. We are here with Faye Gibson, who is a phenomenal Detroit based artist. And I would like to take a moment to give her the floor to introduce herself to you. And then we will dive into our questions. And we will also hear from her on her art practice and her artwork, which is currently a part of our collective art exhibit, Ashe, Unity, Peace, and Power. Well, great day. How are you doing, Faye?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for even having me. Oh
You
my God,
are
this is beautiful.
you are
I love
welcome.
this space.
You are welcome, and we are honored to have you a part of our to have you and your work be a part of our art exhibit. And so this is your solo artist talk. And I know that there are a lot of people who already know who you are, but can you just take a moment to introduce yourself for those who are watching who may be new to your work and to you?
Sure. My name is Faye Gibson. I do use part of my middle name, which is Liz. So anytime you see Faye Liz-Gibson, that is me. Um, I've been painting like most people would say all my life, and I enjoy drawing. First of all, then I went to CCS. I'm a graduate, and but I majored in advertising, graphic communication. Went on with my life, had my daughter and everything, and I got back into art again. And when I hit the ground, I was doing oils, which I enjoy doing, mostly people at that point. And then I got into acrylics. I love acrylics. My subject matter has changed through the years, and I enjoyed doing clouds and water and nature. And I got the nickname of the Cloud Lady because I'm a member of Breakfast Club, Detroit Fine Arts Breakfast Club. And when I brought those paintings, they loved them. And so I was bringing them. And then I went, I need to branch off into something a little bit more different. And I had done animals, anything that I'm interested in. I attempt to reproduce because I guess I'm a realism. That's what I'm into. But I just enjoy painting. I enjoy it. I want to get larger. Like I said, the subject matter doesn't is not the thing. But the first thing is I want to learn how to do that. What technique can I come up with to make that leaf look like a leaf? To make hair look like that, like hair, because it's a difference between, let's say, a lion's hair and a bird feather.
Yes.
Okay, so bark on a tree. Who can? I want it to look like bark. I want you to feel when you're looking at it. Ooh, that's rough. I've seen a tree like that before. That is what I'm trying to do. So this particular piece,
Yes.
I really enjoyed the grandmother. It was one of, actually, it was a neighbor, his mother, and that's his daughter. And he had taken a picture of her years ago. She's a big girl now, grown. But I always liked it. And he had sent me a copy of it. And I went, I've always loved her hair because it was like silver white. It was gorgeous. And she had made this blanket for the baby, and I went, I'm gonna. That's good. I love the technique in it to make it look like cotton, and her hair to make it look like little individual hairs. You're not shading. The wrinkles in her forehead, I didn't want them deep, but I didn't want them to like fade away. So I think I captured most of it. I didn't want the whole baby in there. She was covered by the blanket, and I felt like that was enough. So I kind of worked with what I had and kept the attention on the grandmother because a lot of times you want eyes. And I just felt like, no, I like that shoulder. She's like leaning in. This is what's important. So I wanted to just capture the moment. So I'm happy with it. I think it turned out pretty good.
Can you talk a little bit about your process and determining what materials you wanted to use to create this particular portrait?
Well, I thought about, I like Canson paper because that is Canson. And I know it would take pencil very, very well, and it would allow me to get a lot of contrast going.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go with white because that's so, I knew the colors that I was going to use, which I wanted to just use black and white. I knew it would allow me to pop certain things out, like I said, the hair, and would allow me to do the softness in the blanket.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like I said, the color of the paper, I did have it, several shades of it, but this one, I kind of took it to the side and kind of did lines on it just to see how it would take.
Mm-hmm.
And it did exactly what I wanted it to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just came back with white Prismacolor pencil for her hair. That worked out. But I did not want a big cotton ball on her head. So I kind of started from the side of her head and kind of worked it in, and then worked with the shadows as they come in, and that allowed me to do the small curls that she had. So
wow,
that was how I did that.
That's absolutely.
And I'm probably going to do some more babies because I realized that I really need to work on some babies. They're a whole different animal. Mm-hmm. They don't have bones. Not really. There's no real character to them, but there is,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that the baby, her grandbaby, who you beautifully captured in this portrait, it is touching, and so I want to open up the floor for others who may have questions, and then I have a few more questions for you too, but I want to open up the floor to others so that they can have an opportunity to ask you about your work and about your art practice.
Sure. You have any questions?
Faye, while you were talking, I am appreciating the science of your artistry. You are painting elements. You approach each subject with such an inquisitive attitude, wanting to know how to depict concrete, how to depict the sky, cloud. You were talking about clouds, and her hair. You're a scientist artist.
Oh,
that's my new nickname for you.
I like that.
And I wanted to also hear you. I know that you're in the Luminosity show at the Charles H. Wright Museum, and I wanted you to just say quickly what piece you have there and where we can find it at the museum.
It is, thank you, Ashley. It's funny that I'm in that show and I tend not to even too much mention it. I'm still in shock. The piece is I don't want to, but I will. It is a picture of a little boy, and that I really liked a lot, and influenced by my oldest brother. One of his photographs looked a lot like the one that I did. It's in pencil. I believe it's 16 by 20. It is in, how would I put it, as far as when you enter into the hallway that has luminosity on it, as soon as you go in, it's maybe 3 or 4 artists into the room, and it's on the right hand side. It's not as big as everybody's, but my feedback, what I'm getting from it, is that they see it as it's like an undercurrent of, I don't want to do it, but I will. But it's respectful. He's not frowning up or anything like that, but you can see it in his eyes like, okay, So again, I'm glad you said that. I kind of tapped your stuff. Yeah, I like that, actually. Thank you. Like I said, though, I do enjoy, and I've said this numerous times at Breakfast Club, I love a challenge. And Lord knows I've done so many clouds trying to capture the essence and the colors, because I don't want to just throw blue on it, light blue, and throw some white cloud, white paint on there, and that's a cloud. And I've taken I don't even know how many pictures of them at different times, because it's a difference between clouds in the winter, clouds in the springs, in the summer, in the evening. Even at night, if the moon is just right and it's cloudy, you can see them. So, and it's a lot going on, because like I said, the clouds are not really white. They're a little bit white, but they have grays on some days. Some days I've seen green, I've seen pink, I've seen lavender. I've gotten into the water, and when you put the two together, it does reflect the clouds that come down, but then the water has the bottom, and it comes up, and that's how I think about it. I try to go from the darker colors, and you have to stop, let things dry. I dry brush a lot to drag it, to make it, layers, so it kind of looks like movement. It's a lot involved in it. It really is. But at the end of the day, when people see it and they see what I see, that's the payoff. That it looks like the water is moving. Oh my God, you reflected the clouds in the water, and that's really cool. So, and I was just showing you one that I did of the boulders. And rocks are hard. They're as hard as a cloud, because they're not just brown. They have a lot going on, and you have to bring in the sun hitting it, maybe a cloud that came in front of it. The one we were talking about and you saw was like the ocean spray was hitting it, so now I got to deal with that, So I like it, and I like the challenge, and I like people to put themselves in the space that I see and I put out there for you to enjoy. And if you see the ocean, I want you to almost feel like you can feel the air and the spray, or it takes you to some place where you thought you'd seen it before. So, I enjoy painting.
I know your paintings are not often politically motivated or that kind of thing, but I saw a really powerful piece of yours last year, and it was another water piece, but it was a river, and it had something to do with a place where runaway slaves could cross. Can you tell us about that piece?
That was, thank you. That was a piece called "The Beach Never Sleeps," and it was a beautiful beach scene. And I decided, I put the ocean out in the background, sky, but then on the beach where the water was coming in, I started seeing like little odd shapes. That's all I can say. It's like round, and I said, this really looks like skulls. It looks like head, But I didn't want to go that far. But if it's the one I'm thinking, and that's got to be the one. It made me think of slaves. It made me think of maybe the ones that jumped off the ship and were trying to get back, and they just perished right there. And unlike us going to a beach these days and it could have been found or something, these just sank, even whatever, and it was more like their spirit was rising up in the evening, and their mouths were open, and that kind of thing. So, and the answer, I don't do too many political pieces. I don't. I figure that's somebody else's wheelhouse. It's not really mine. I find myself I am doing a lot of my African mask, which a friend of mine have a couple, and I did that. And I enjoyed the texture, making it look like wood, and then putting it into different colors, or adding, what I'm working on now, adding feathers, something to like soften it, so it's not just a mask. So I'm enjoying doing that. What else? I don't think anyone at Breakfast Club has seen like the one lion that I did, which was, I love doing it because of the hair, and it was like individual pieces in his muzzle and the whole 9 yards. Had his teeth going, but the his mouth, the way it goes, I enjoyed doing that. trying to think. I tell you the one thing I don't want to do. I don't want to be pigeonholed as far as subject matter. My technique may kind of go from piece to piece, but I do not want to be pigeonholed where everything I do is inside that subject. And no matter what you do, oh, I know that piece. I know Ashley's pieces, but I know it by style and not by subject. And I love that about your work.
Yes.
And I'm motivated by several people. Henry Heading, he does tons of work. His techniques, when you see it, you know it's his. But the subject matter is all different. I mean, totally different. So I'm not going to say it's a lot of people out there like that, but I'm very much motivated and inspired by people who it's just the brushstrokes, it's the technique, it's the thought behind the work, and you can see where there was a lot of work put into it. It wasn't just poop 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 and there it is. Although I've seen pieces that may or may not have taken a long time, but it still touches me. And I think as an artist, that's what we want to do. We want to draw you into the piece to the point where you're like, wow, you know, and then you go home and you're still thinking about it. And if you think enough, you'll want to get it and have it be a part of your home or a present to somebody. So, or it'll remind you maybe of someone's grandmother, maybe your own, you know. So,
that's actually what a lot of art patrons mention when they look at your piece. When they have come in, they say that it reminds them of their grandmother. And I think that it captures the love and the bond that a grandmother shares with her grandchildren. And you mentioned something to me when you delivered your artwork. We were having a conversation. I don't know if you remember, but you shared that you intentionally did not give a great deal of detail to the grandmother's face or to the baby's face because you wanted the focus to be on their bond. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. That you just said exactly what I had told you. I didn't want eyes, because every time you see an older person, there's this thing we have about showing the age and the this and the that. The baby, you can't even see really. It's a girl, but I did put that on there because of the subject matter. But it's her character. I wanted her to have the least amount of detail possible while still looking like an older woman without looking like anyone in particular. Because I've seen a lot of African American grandmothers, and you can put them in a line and they're all totally different for the features and stuff that they have on their face, because that's years of living life. And babies are the same way. They don't have any character yet. So why would I sit up there, oh, I'm going to try to make the eyelashes and I'm going to try to, no, I just want the images there, and you can kind of read into it what you want. You can kind of look at it and go, like you said, that reminds me of my grandma. Because let's face it, as folks get older, there are certain things that are they may have had long hair, they may not have long hair anymore. Or they may have had beautiful eyelashes, well, they don't anymore. Oh, I loved her eyebrows, they're so arched, and well, they're not anymore, they're kind of bushy. So, and it's the posture. She's leaning. I love that shoulder. I kind of overemphasized it because she was older and she was a very petite woman. She was about shorter than me, so she was like 4 foot something. But she was a nurse in a hospital, so she was very active. But it's the way I wanted. The shoulder was there at an angle, but I kind of did it a little more because I wanted her to look like she was really engaged with this one. I think that's her youngest son's baby. So she was kind of really, she had 5 kids and he was the last one, and So I really enjoyed doing that piece.
Mm.
I was connected to it a
Mm-hmm.
lot, so makes me want to go do some more opus. See what I'm saying? I'll do one and then I want to do some more. I might not do a lot, but I just want to do another one, maybe 2 or 3 more, just to say, okay, I got that done.
Yeah.
That was a challenge done. So, but thanks for bringing that out.
Absolutely.
I said it all.
Yes, I remember you shared that with me. And I also had a follow-up question. So your style and your way of painting as well as drawing is distinct and it's identifiable. But who would you say has been a huge inspiration in terms of style, composition, in your art practice? Has there been one or more artists who you have been inspired by?
I love Scar's World when I was in school. And his technique and his technical and his strokes, his pencil or ink, whichever one of them he was working in. Another friend of mine who I went to school with, Robert Tomlin. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but this guy, phenomenal. I mean, he would do egg tempera, and he would actually get an egg and make his paintings with that. And he was always in Detroit. He did a lot of his subject matter was around the house and in Detroit. So that was another one. I'm really impressed by people that I can go to their house, I can go to the studio or whatever, and I can watch them do what they're doing. And they don't mind it. It's only been a handful. Henry Heading is another one. I was in school, he had his studio, and I would be there for hours watching him draw, or he'd be at his house and he'd, be painting. And I think from those 2 people alone, I got that motivation that anything worth doing, take your time. It's not a matter of speed. It's a matter of you doing your best work. I try to not use a lot of strokes to make something happen, so I've gotten into my paintings a lot of dry brush so that I can layer and walk away, come back, look at it. So deadlines are a problem for me because I'm getting into shows and there are deadlines for shows. So I try to come home because I'm working full time. I do try to come home and give about an hour or 2, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
I hear you.
But I've been blessed not to work weekends, so that's when I can really get into it.
Yeah, you brought up something that I think is important, and actually, before we started, Ashley and we were talking about this. But we are all working artists, and so for many artists, that is the way that we support our work. And you are a working artist, but you are committed to your craft. Can you talk about how sometimes you've had to balance out your work that you do during the day with your passion and your craft for creating?
Yes, today being one of them. But I'm usually up around 6 in the morning. I have to be at work at 8. Usually off at 4:30. Usually home by 5:15. By that time, I'm hungry again, so I eat. And then because you eat and you've been at work, I'm just sitting around more money. But my pattern has been, I tend to work better after it's dark outside. As long as the sun is out, I got this thing about I need to go do this. I need to go do that. And I find myself working, say, at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I'm so into it in my studio. I have a little jazz going because I don't like songs with lyrics and words and all that. I just want background. And I look up and it's 2:30 in the morning. I still have to get up at 6 to go to work. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm doing better now because there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm trying to decide whether I want to retire or not. And sad to say, the job is getting in the way of what I really want to do. So it's a TikTok. I'm looking forward to it. I got canvases all set and ready to go. I've got my paints. I got my brushes. I've got several ideas for paintings that I want to do. So I'm getting better at coming home, trying to work, even if for an hour or so. There is somebody who is constantly telling me, you've got to get in the habit of just coming home, painting a little bit every day. Paint a little bit every day, and you'll get in the habit. So I do know there are artists who it is their life's work. It is their job. What are you doing? I'm working. What are you doing? I'm painting. That is, and when you get to a point where you're able to just paint and you're just producing and producing and producing, if a show pops up, you're ready for it. You're not painting for the show. You're painting for the fact that that is your passion.
Yes.
And it's easy as breathing in and out. And right now, I'm having problems breathing because I gotta work somewhere, and the Lord knows I'm appreciative of a job, especially in this climate. But yeah, it's a
dance.
Yeah, it is.
It's a dance. Well, you do it well, and I think I speak for everyone here when I say thank you so much for taking time to be with us today, to share about your art practice and your work. And before we end, I would like to open the floor again to anyone else who may have any additional questions before we close out.
Anybody have any questions they want to ask?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say that we have 3 paintings in our home of Faye's, and I'm so glad to know you. I'm so glad to have acquired some of your beautiful, exquisite art.
I have yours too, actually.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate you. And is there anything else that you want to share that maybe none of us have asked, but you just would like to share?
Well, the one thing I am proud of, my daughter, she's always been around me. You know how kids are. They're always scribbling and drawing and, mommy. But she ended up graduating from Western Michigan in 2010. Well, from high school in 2010 and from Western in 2014. But then she turned around out of nowhere and told me that she wanted to get her master's at Pratt. Little did I know she was at Western in merchandising and product design. But she ended up graduating from Pratt with her master's in AI, web design, and all these other alphabets I don't understand. But then she turns around and gets a job at Sam Houston University College in Houston, and ended up moving there and lives there. And I go to her house and she has some of my paintings around, and she called from class one time that she was teaching. She goes, "Mom," I'm like, "Yeah, how you doing?" "I just wanted to tell the class that my mom is an artist, and they wanted to meet you.
Yes.
And can you tell them some of the things you told me? Because I can't seem to help them understand that you got to practice and you're responsible for your own." I said, "Oh my God, I'm at work.
Yeah.
I don't make it quick." And I just told him, I said, like my daughter, I told her, if you see something and you enjoy doing it, give it your all. Give it your all. And things will work out. So if you do as my daughter tells you, you're basically going to end up where she is or better, because I never thought she would be a professor, but she is.
Yes.
So that's the feather in my cap, because you as a mom or a parent, you don't know if your kids are listening.
Yes.
And that just kind of lets me know she was listening, and I love her art. I have tons of her art that she's done through the years still at my house, and she said, "Mom, you hold on to them." So
She's your living legacy.
yes, she is. Yes, she is. Thank you for asking, because I'm very proud of her.
Well, I say thank you once again, and everything that you've shared has been informative and insightful. And I say thank you, Faye.
Thank you, Robin.
Yes.
And again, I love your space.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.